Welcome back to Afternoon Live. We've all told little white lies in our relationships, but when do these seemingly small things create bigger problems? Here to share the truth about lies, we welcome back psychologist Dr. Christie Kederian. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Did you watch that crazy Risa Tisa, Who the Bleep Did I Marry TikTok series? Because I did.
Me too. It just was like, you can't look away.
Yeah, got a lot of us thinking about red flags and lying and white lies versus pathological. So let's get into it. Pathological lying, where does that come from, and is it some kind of a disorder?
So pathological lying essentially is a learned behavior that usually starts pretty early on in life where someone's key to survival has to do with them lying. So oftentimes we see this in different kinds of disorders, but it's not necessarily a disorder in itself. So oftentimes certain personality disorders, people prone to narcissism, those are the types of people that we see pathologically lying.
Okay, so if you're just getting to know someone and you're not quite sure if they're telling you lies, what are some red flags to look for so that you can be better informed and aware of if somebody's really lying to your face?
One of the first things I recommend looking for is asking the person just different things about themselves, especially if you've met them online, and verifying that information. I'm a really big fan of research and looking at people and using the internet to our advantage. You know, employers often research people before they hire them for a job. They're looking at your social media. So I'm always curious as to why people don't want to do that when they're dating and essentially meeting people online. So I would look for potential discrepancies in what they're saying and then verifying that. And the second thing I really tell people to do is meet people in that person's life. So one thing that we saw in the TikTok series is that she didn't actually physically meet, the brother, all these people that he was talking to. So I would say that it's really important to do that because people that are pathological liars are really good at it.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to just tell from what they're saying. It becomes easy for them. So we really have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence on the side.
Do you tell people as well that sometimes trusting your gut makes a big difference? If you feel something's not right, a lot of times it's not right.
I always say to verify your feelings with facts, but listening to that inner knowing, your gut feeling, noticing this feels really familiar to my ex who I found out was also lying to me, or whatever experiences you've had. Sometimes that's really important, but it's really also important to differentiate, is this just my fear talking and wanting to avoid getting hurt, or is there actual facts that can verify how I'm feeling?
That's a great way to look at it. Okay, let's talk about the smaller little white lies and how harmful can those be to a relationship?
Dating app research has found that 80% of people have admitted to lying in some way, shape, or form on their dating profile. So we know that men usually tend to tell little white lies around how tall they are, and women tend to use filters or other photoshopping resources to look a different way, like their weight and their appearance. And so we know that white lies are kind of embedded, especially in the dating process, but it's really important to notice, if you slip into that, most of the time people do it because they want to be loved. It's coming from a good place. You want people to like you. You want people to love you. So we're kind of fidgeting and kind of creating realities that don't necessarily exist. But the important thing to remember when it comes to dating is you want someone who truly loves you for you, not a version you think they're going to love, because eventually you're going to authentically be yourself, hopefully, in that loving relationship. So I always say, put your best foot forward, notice where you're trying to exaggerate or trying to be someone that you're really not, and know that the right person is going to love you for who you are.
Absolutely. So let's say you're in the relationship and you've caught your partner in a lie. How do you approach that, and what do you do if they just double down on the lie and they won't admit to it?
I always say that the best way to approach potentially uncomfortable conversations is notice yourself first soften. So if you come out guns blazing, first of all, you're not going to find out the truth. And second of all, the person is probably ashamed of that potential white lie they told. And so they're either going to double down or be defensive. So I would say just notice what you have observed and bring that to them and come from a place of grace, because we know that we've all kind of told these white lies before, and get to the heart of why they felt like they couldn't be honest. Usually there's some kind of fear involved. They didn't want to disappoint you or hurt your feelings, feelings or whatever it is, and really make honesty and truth telling kind of a core pillar in your relationship. And don't get mad the next time they're honest about something and maybe you did get hurt by it. So it's really important to create a safe environment where people can be honest and truly authentically themselves to feel safe in a relationship.
Okay, and then when do you know, how do you know if it is that time to just kind of give in and say, this relationship isn't working for me?
Yeah, if someone's lying is really impeding in that ability to build trust with them, or it's about really large issues, so it's gone beyond white lies and there's, lies around finances or fidelity or different things like that, it's really important to seek help. So I always recommend, seeing a therapist, a skilled like couples therapist to help with that communication. But if you notice that you're getting help and that pattern isn't working out, then it potentially is time to kind of have that conversation and say, you know what, I'm not really in an authentic relationship or with someone who's willing to kind of do that work with me. And that's really difficult, but I think getting that help initially can hopefully reverse that pattern.
Yeah, it's such a two-way street. You can't save a relationship with just one person really digging into it. Hey, thank you
Exactly.
so much. It was great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.